Hi, this is Kate from Daisy Nails, creating fun, funky and fabulous nails in the comfort of your home. I just did the entire voiceover for this video, and when I finished, I clicked on the tick, and it wasn't there. Completely gone. 23 minutes and 20 seconds of me waffling on about utter rubbish, and a slight bit of describing what I'm doing in the video, and it's all gone. Right, so I think this video is cursed, isn't it? Because when I started recording it, filming it in the first place, it didn't film. And I fortunately noticed after only a couple of minutes. So we do come into this video with already a couple of little bits on the nail. Look, there we go. So because I grew up as a teenager in the 80s, I do like this combination of monochrome and bright colours, which was a big thing in the 80s, especially the early 80s, you'd wear like all black and white with like a flash of bright red or a flash of neon yellow in it or something. And it is a look that I do really like. So I'm going to try and remember what I said before. Maybe I should forget what I said before and just start completely fresh. I might say brain has gone to mush because I've literally just done the whole of this and I'm doing it again. So yes, I was painting a rainbow and you saw the colours that I chose. It was the Perfect Purple, Daddy's Girl, Sunset in Hawaii Sundays, Apple Bite and Caribbean Sea, wasn't it? And I'm currently going in with the Caribbean Sea stripe. Now, I keep having a look at this just to make sure it still says it's recording. It says it is. I'm just wondering if I should test it. What do you think? I'm going away for a second. I'm going to test it. Hold on. Yes, the recording is there. Okay, happy now. So, right, yes, so I've done, that's right. So in between each line, I did a flash cure because gel attracts gel. So if you are putting two colours next to one another, they will blend into each other if you don't give them at least a flash cure between each one. And because I was wanting to do fine lines, I was noticing that as I picked the brush up there, I had quite a blob of the gel on it. So I just ran the brush along my palette, just gently, just to remove that blob, but leaving the lion's share of the gel on there. And I'm out of camera. That's what, yes. So just remembering the things I said. I'm going to stop saying, oh yes, that's what I said. I'm just going to say things now. I'm thinking of changing the name of it from Daisy Nails to Can't Keep in the Camera Nails. What do you think? Oh, that's a good idea. No, I think it's a terrible idea. I don't think that my social media would let me change again, because I did change recently to Daisy Nails by Kate on social media, just because it meant I didn't have to have all the asterisks and ones and, whatever else you end up putting in the names because somebody else has got that name. So yes, Daisy Nails by Kate, because my name's Kate. There you go, that works. So I went down with another rainbow coming out of the bottom. And yeah, this is what I was saying previously. And I said I wasn't going to say that. I'm failing miserably here. Was that... No, it's gone. Completely gone. Utterly forgotten. Previous voiceover was so smooth and flowing, and now I'm just like, it's all going wrong. Across the room from me is Amber, the cat. I've introduced you to Amber before, I think in the last video that came out last Wednesday. In the background, if you listen closely, you could actually hear a little meow. And when I did that, little head turned around to look at me. Just me, Amber. Yes, I know it's you, you fool. That's Amber's voice, by the way. Oh, she's coming over. She often comes over to me when I've had my breakfast. Comes and sits on me for a little stroke before I head off to work. Yeah, come on, Amber. Come on. Come on. Did you hear that? I don't know how much this microphone picks up, to be honest. Come on. She's purring like anything, sniffing at my plate that had toast on it. When I finish this, I am going to have to go and buy some toast. Well, some bread. and some cereal. I came down to thinking, oh, breakfast. And the 15-year-old said to me yesterday, oh, when are you going to buy some food for breakfast? What would be more appreciated would be, Mum, there's no bread and no cereal whatsoever, rather than when you're going to buy some food for breakfast, because as we all know, we've all been teenagers. If any of you viewers aren't now, we've all been teenagers, and we know what it's like, that no food in the house doesn't necessarily mean no food in the house. It means no food that I fancy eating right now in the house. So I came down thinking, oh, I'll have a big bowl of cereal. No cereal. I'll have some toast. Open the bread bin. And there was one slice of the crust. And that was it. Excuse me a second. There we go. Amber's sitting on my lap now having a stroke, aren't you, Amber? Yes. Yes, you are. I went to a client's house last night. And she's got 2 cats. They're gorgeous. They're kittens still. And she's had them for, I think, the past 3 visits I've been to her house now. She's had these kittens. And I walked in. There were 3 kittens in the kitchen. I sort of looked up. I said, I'm sure you only had 2. One of them was the neighbours that had come in to join in. I got to her house last night, actually, and realised I didn't have my glasses. Because I've got this new job working in an office that I've mentioned before, and I'm using a computer. I need to use my close-up glasses to work on the computer. Otherwise, by the end of the day, I've got a headache, my eyes are dry and everything. And I was driving home from work thinking, right, I'm going to this client now. As soon as I get home from work, transfer the glasses from the work bag over into my nail case. Got home, got changed, made a quick drink, and went to the client's house. I went, oh, no glasses. Fortunately, the client didn't want any art, so I didn't need to see detail. And I think I did a pretty good job of actually getting the gel onto her nails. I think I need to go and buy another pair of glasses to keep in my nail box and have the other pair for work. So I went in for the second coat for these stripes. When I did the first coat, not all of the stripes buffed up to each other perfectly. So there was tiny little, insignificant, but I could see them, little white gaps between the colours. So when I went in with the second coat, I made sure any of those were filled in. And again, the 10-second cure between each coat. And this is where it becomes fun. This is where the monochrome kicks in. Hold on, I just need some of my coffee. There we go. Right, so I got the Madame Glam black gel paint, and using the longer brush, there we go, the long fine liner. I can never remember what it's called. The long fine liner. I got some gel paint on there, but then I made sure that it was as smooth as possible on the brush. And I measured out, just using my eye, as even distance as possible in order to make a checkerboard in the background. There we go. And I didn't make them perfect. I just wanted to mark out where they were going to be. And then I got some more gel paint to do the bottom. So what I was doing with the bottom lines was I measured up sort of where the top line was. Oh no, that's right. Before that, I went in and outlined the rainbows, just to sort of make them more defined, so that when the checkerboard was on, there wouldn't be sort of a mix of outline and not outline, depending on whether it was a white or a black square that was next to it. I tell you what, these brushes are so beautiful to paint with. They do the work for you. Obviously you have to turn them in the direction you want them to go, but they've got such beautiful flexibility that they just go where you want them to go as you move. Absolutely incredible. Right, so I then went in to do the bottom lines, and so I measured where the line was at the top, so I would get it as even as possible, so it looked as if it was going all the way through. That line became a bit of a pain, you'll see in a second. First of all, it ended up with a smudge, which I tried to clean off. And then I went in again to try and make up the bit that I removed then. Oh yeah, that looks all right. And then I went in to do the next line and realised that the previous line was absolutely wonky. As you see, it gets narrower and narrower as it gets to the bottom. I wasn't happy with that. So a tiny bit of isopropyl alcohol onto the lint-free wipe, and then just using the corner, you can reach the smallest little areas. And then, obviously lots of hairs everywhere because of the cats. And then you fold it again, so you're using a clean bit. Just keep folding it in a different place with the isopropyl alcohol, so you're constantly getting a clean bit. And I redid that line, much happier with that. And then the lines across. Again, just trying to use my eye to get them as even as possible. And I also worked out where the lines would be if they were underneath the rainbow, so that the checkerboard looked as even as possible. So then with the detail liner, I then made a dot in every other square and then filled it in. That's what I love about these gel paints, is they are so beautifully opaque. You don't really have to go in with a second coat unless you put a very, very fine layer on. I think I went back and did one there where it had been a little bit too thin, so I just put a touch more on. And you really don't need much. If you have too much, it's going to wrinkle, because black obviously doesn't let the light through. So it does need to be quite thin, but still lovely and dark. And there's my first one. I must admit, out of the two I did, that was my favourite. Oh yes, and I've still got the stars to do. I decided it was a little bit flat and needed a little bit something else, so I put a couple of stars in there as well. There we go, nice big blob on my Madame Glam brush, because Madame Glam brushes hold that paint so beautifully at the end. And then wiping off most of that gel off that brush. And then pull the gel that's actually in the dot out to make the arms of that star. Just checking the time, because I've still got quite a lot to do with my first clients in 1.5 hours. That's all right, I've eaten. I need to wash my hair. I want to do a deep condition, because my hair's highlighted and it's quite frazzled at the ends at the moment, so I want to give it a real deep condition. My hairdresser has her own brand of hair products, and they are so good, called Stag Hairdressing. If you look on Instagram, I think Stag Hairdressing, with her products are plain white with black font on them. Seriously, I recommend them. Okay, so then with the next nail, I decided to start off with, it was going to be a sun with the rays coming out, but actually when it came down to it, I didn't paint the circle in yellow, so it's not a sun as such, unless you can have a pink sun. And I did the freehand circle, which is never an easy thing to do, so I was quite proud of it. I did have to wipe that edge off, as you can see, and then redo that edge a little bit, but I was pretty pleased with how that worked out. So that went in for I don't know if it was a full cure or a flash cure with the gel paints, not for any other reason than I've decided myself. I do tend to do a slightly longer flash cure because they need a longer cure in the lamp themselves. For a minute, I'll do the flash cure for like 20 seconds to 30 seconds. Okay, so I did the rays, again in the rainbow colours, using the Caribbean Sea, finding that centre point at the top and the bottom of the circle, and painting the rays coming out of it. Oh, there's nothing like the look of a bliss on a cat's face when you scratch them under the chin, is there? Oh, look at that Amber. I have to see if I can put a picture of Amber. Where are we up to on this video? 14 and a half minutes. If I remember, I'll put a picture of Amber at 14 and a half minutes. I do have two cats. Amber is the tortoiseshell, or the calico, I think they're called in the States, aren't they? And Oreo is pure black all over. They're going to have their 8th birthday soon, aren't you? Was it the 26th of August today? Your birthday's on the 20th of September, isn't it? Yeah. There we go, with the perfect purple. So when I did that outside line, the line away from the blue, on the second one, I measured up with the outside line on the other perfect purple. I wasn't overly happy with the orange one because it ended up having to have a wider base, you know, where it connects to the circle than the others, because of how I'd put it together. But hey ho, that's life, isn't it? You live, you learn. If I'd redone it, I would have had to have filed the others off because they'd already been partially cured. These brushes, as well as being liners, they're actually really good for filling in small spaces like this because they do hold so much gel. Oh, I think my coffee's going cold. Hold on. There we go, a little bit of Sundays. So that's going next to the orange, because obviously between that one and the Caribbean Sea will be the apple bite. And if you're worried about, oh no, where's Daddy's girl going to be? No, I know you're not worried. The Daddy's girl is what ends up being in the circle in the centre. So it does still get used and involved in there. Sorry, just looking at my cat's toe beans. Little toe beans. Yeah. One of these days I'll paint their nails. Don't look at me like that, Amber. I would never paint your nails, don't you worry. Oreo actually looks a bit like Toothless, the dragon. When she's lying down, asleep and stretched out, she looks just like Toothless. You don't look like Toothless, do you, Amber? You look like a fierce lion. Last one's the apple bite, and then I go in with the second coat on them all, as well as the Daddy's girl in the centre. So, yesterday I bought a bike. If I lived in a smaller town, I might get a trailer and go around to all of my clients by bike, but you might not appreciate me turning up all sweaty and stinky. Partly because of my new job. It's a couple of miles away, in an office in the town centre. And I thought it might be nice to cycle into work. We'll see. I might do it some days, I might not do it some days. See how it all turns out. But the bike I've got, I've had since I was about 22, 23 years old. And that bike and I have cycled all over the place. We've done long bike tours. When I lived in London, I used to cycle commute. Oh, bye, Amber. Amber's gone back to look out the window. Yeah, I used to cycle commute. I lived in Isleworth and I had two different jobs. One was in Teddington and one was in Wandsworth. So I used to cycle commute to both of those. We were once outside of Putney Station. A young kid knocked us off once. That was an interesting experience. I mean, it's given me a story to tell and a tiny scar on my leg. He was more, I think, shook up than I was from it, poor lad. Don't remember. He was called Ben something. I don't remember his surname. But he borrowed his brother's car. He'd just passed his test and, it was just one of those things. I never ever had any animosity towards him for it. But yeah, so me and the other bike, we've gone through so much and now I've bought the new one. I feel that I should give up the old one to charity. Where I bought my new bike from, it's actually a second-hand bike. I always donate old bikes, like my kids' old bikes as they've grown out of them, and bought new ones from this place called Recycles in the town centre. And it's a Salvation Army bike shop, and they use the money that they raise from the bikes to support homeless people, and they employ homeless people and train them how to do bike mechanics. So it's somewhere that I do support, and I do need to take this old bike down to there for them to refurb and give it another life. But on the other hand, I've had that bike for 30 years and we've done so much together, and it would feel like I was rejecting it. I don't know, it's just a lump of metal. But I don't know, as humans we do get attached to inanimate objects, don't we? Right, so I'm now using the black gel paint again to fill in the gaps between the colours. just so we've got some sort of connectivity between the two nails. We've got the same colours, and we've got the black in as well. We don't have any white in it, but we've got the monochrome. Probably should have put some white in. Oh no, there is going to be some white, but only a little bit. I do like this idea of sort of the radiating colours. And then from there I also redid the circle of black around the pink. The ring of black around the pink circle, I suppose would be a better way to put it. I just heard rain, maybe I didn't. It's very wet out there. There's droplets of rain hanging off my washing line. Yeah, so going around the circle, and all of these were probably flash cured periodically, just, you know, in case I needed to wipe anything off or to stop me from smudging it, etc. And I think that was a full cure there. And then I went in to do the face on the pink because, hey, there's a circle, you've got to add eyes and mouth. That was the second attempt at the face. The first attempt, the mouth ended up very, very strange. When I tried to wipe it off, it smudged absolutely everywhere. Oh no, this was the first attempt. This was where it smudged. I ended up wiping off the whole thing and starting again. The more I tried to correct it, the worse it got. I was like when you say something unintentionally offensive, and the more you try to get out of it, the bigger hole you dig. Right, so I then used the white gel paint and did some more stars, again to tie in with the other nail. And it doesn't matter if your nails are different from one another, as long as there is some theme that ties them together. So this has got the same colours in, and it's got the same sort of stars in. I was thinking maybe I would do a video showing how to paint different celestial objects. For years, I could not do a crescent moon until I realised what a crescent moon is made up of, which is essentially, it's part of a whole moon. And that was when I twigged how to do it. Anyway, so now we go with the no white top coat. I'm just checking it's still recording. It is. The no white top coat, always float it on, to get quite a lot on your brush and float it on. Your top coat won't crinkle because it's transparent, so the light can get all the way through it. And there's the finished product. What do you think? My favourite is the one with the checkerboard, but let me know which yours is. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, okay? Thanks for watching. Bye.